It's Heels on Wheels, the racing show by female racers, for female racers, about female racers, featuring female racers, with a few surprises thrown in. Heels on Wheels is brought to you by Renew Salon and Spa, Excelsior Racing, and Dragonflies and Nymphs Creation. And now, here are your hosts.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Heels on Wheels radio program brought to you by the Performance Motorsports Network. I'm your host, Taylor Hyatt, and of course, Krista Elise is here with me. We are on show number 104 this week, and if you're looking to start at the beginning of the timeline of women in racing, you've come to the right place, because once you hear who our guest is tonight, you're not going to want to leave. So, stay tuned for that. But Krista, what's going on with you? It looks like you and the True Blue team had a great time at the Baltimore Walk for Autism.
We did, actually, and we were very lucky to link up with the regional director who wants to get more involved. She heard about Heels on Wheels and Performance Motorsports Network and our great community who came together for that. So she wants to reach out and see how we can make our partnership official. So that's good, and I mean, we have tons coming up. I'm super scheming for SEMA right now. I'm going to miss you.
I know, even though we never see each other, but I know.
I know, it's like I never saw you.
What? Anyway, back to the show. Sorry for whatever that was. Let's see, what have I been up to? I was at the track working a Porsche event. It really doesn't get much better than that, honestly. I'm a huge Porsche fan, so it was a good weekend. Let's see.
Did you get to ride in one or drive one? Or
Not this weekend. I've ridden in them in the past, but I was a little busy this weekend. But we did get to tow two of them at the same time, which was pretty awesome, I must say. Ford power, that's all. That's it. That's all I can say about that.
I think it's amazing I saw those pictures of Ford-powered Porsche. That is something that, in road racing, I mean, they come up with the strangest, the coolest combos.
So I posted something on our page a little bit ago, and it's what kind of segments our listeners want to hear from us. Because, unfortunately, our racing season is almost over. So we're going to need to fill in a little bit of our racing news time with some cool stuff. So if you guys know anybody that has a really cool project build or would like to do a fitness segment, because all of our athletes need to stay in shape and they all have really different ways of doing it. So if you guys know of anything, or if you would like to hear something special, let us know and we'll do everything we can to get that on the show for you.
Speaking of fitness, did you see that Alexis DeJoria was named, Health or Fitness Ambassador of the Year?
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they have a whole, you're going to have to Google it. I don't have the link in front of me, but we can post it on the Heels on Wheels page for you guys. But, she has a whole fitness regimen that she went through on, how she stays in shape because, believe it or not, that stuff's pretty grueling. Nice.
I'll have to look that up and put it on the page. I also want to mention our #HowPink album that we put on our Facebook page. We had a lot of good submissions from our fans and followers and some people that have been on the show. All pictures of how they're supporting breast cancer awareness this month, being that it is the national month for that. I'm pretty sure Jennifer Awad is in number 1 position because she's got like 92 likes, I think, on her picture. So I'm sure we'll be hearing her on the show in the next couple of weeks.
Another very cool Mustang girl. I'm excited to hear that.
Of course. So if you want to get your picture up on the page, just tag us on the Heels on Wheels page or use the hashtag #HowPink. For now, sorry, my brain stopped working for a second. For now, let's get right into our guest lineup. And we only have one because we only need one tonight. She is an amazing lady, truly a pioneer in the racing community and one of the first and best women drag racers out there. Shirley Muldowney is going to be with us tonight. Krista and I are super excited. I don't even know how we're talking right now.
You know what? I've been waiting to even meet her or speak to her since, I started in cars and racing. She's one of the first that because of what she's been through, really, really hit it home for me. So I'm jumping up and down, enjoying, giggling like a little girl right now.
Oh yeah, me too. On the inside, of course. And I loved the movie all about her, Heart Like a Wheel. I absolutely loved it. So I'm excited to talk to her about it. We also have another great grilling recipe from Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzlin' Scotty. And on our racing roundtable tonight, we are giving you the scoop of what's going on at SEMA, what you're going to see, who's going to be there, all that good stuff. So stick around. But for now, let's move right into our racing news. Krista, what do you have for us?
The big thing coming up is NHRA in Las Vegas. So, this was something that I was going to go into detail on in our SEMA segment because, it's coming to the end of the season and you have a lot of women, specifically Erica Enders, Courtney Force, and Alexis DeJoria, who are really looking for some sort of championship this year and are really in the prime spot to do that. And so, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, if you're going out there for SEMA, go a couple days early, catch a day of the race. It's going to be great. It has been all season. Also coming up, like I said, next week, SEMA is Tuesday through Friday in Las Vegas. And Performance Motorsports Network and Heels on Wheels is going to be doing a lot of video, photo coverage, and some write-ups on new products to market and some of the new cars out there. And then after that, actually, in our own neck of the woods is one of the biggest import versus domestic events, in the country. World Cup Finals at Maryland International, and I'll be covering that, and I'll be working for JPC, and Project Blue will be on display. So, a lot going on in here.
That is a lot going on, and I'm really, really super bummed that I can't go to SEMA, but I'm hoping to get my act together to go to PRI. So hopefully I will be there for that. But unfortunately, I won't be at SEMA, but Krista will be there, and she will love to take your picture with her. So look her up or hit her up on Facebook. She's looking for people to stalk at SEMA. So
and hey. Nicely stalked. There's no restraining orders involved in this. And, I also am going to, chime in from the floor on our Tuesday show.
That's right. I forgot about that. We will be taping Tuesday.
If I have a beer in one hand and phone in the other, don't hold it against me.
If she's slurring, you know why. Just saying.
It's
all right.
the accent. It has nothing to do with adult beverages.
Let's actually talk about some news during this segment. Speaking of NHRA, Alexis DeJoria is giving away free mammograms again this year at the NHRA Las Vegas race. She did it last year, and it went over very well. So herself...
Now, what you're saying there, because some boys might get excited.
Okay, yeah, she's not giving them. She's sponsoring them to come out and give free mammograms at the race. So it's encouraging a lot of females to go to the race and also get this done, supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's see. I'm not even going to talk NASCAR because I can't keep up with it. This new chase format is ridiculous, and I don't know who's in, who's out, who's going to win, and I really don't care.
It's interesting because Jess Gordon was one of the ones that got caught speeding coming off the pit road this past weekend. And
how do you know that and I don't?
Came in second.
How do you know that and I don't?
Sometimes I watch cars going left.
Funny.
You hope that they'll go right.
Funny Danica news. She went off in the NASCAR hauler though last weekend because her boyfriend Ricky Stenhouse Jr. couldn't race. He didn't qualify because of the new format, and she felt the need to go blow off steam in the NASCAR hauler. So why, I don't know, but
So are you saying that she did not race?
She did. Her boyfriend did not, and she was mad.
Well, that's prime professionalism at its finest.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to real news. The largest gathering of the original Indy 500 pace cars is going to happen November 22nd and 23rd in Rosemont, Illinois. It's going to be pretty cool. They have the 1971 Dodge Challenger that actually crashed into the photographer booth at the start of that race that year. So they're going to have all the cars on display. They're all original. I think it's going to be pretty cool, especially if you're, an Indy 500 fan. Also,
it's always nice to take in the history, though.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool, I'm sure of it. And it looks like a lot of people are really excited about that already. So also, I think, Krista, this is going to strike your interest. The 2015 Monster Energy AMA Supercross is going to be watched live. Well, not watched. Let me see. What am I trying to say here? Televised. Thank you. What is wrong with me today? Televised on Fox Sports, 17 live races. That's pretty cool because I don't think a lot of them are live right now. I think we see a lot of them played back.
They're like NHRA. They're previously recorded. And, I think that having that on a prime station, depending on the airtime, is going to bring in a huge younger market on Supercross. I mean,
for sure.
It's going to be interesting to see how it affects the ratings on the station and how it affects the fan base of the sport.
Hey, I'm just glad to watch Supercross instead of golf. So if that's what they want to play, I'm all for it.
You know what? I'll second that.
All right. Andretti feels the need to comment on Formula One. I guess since they're coming to Austin, Texas this weekend, he's like the ambassador of COTA or something like that. But he says that the reason F1 is failing is because the complex technical regulations are holding them back, and they need to, quote unquote, loosen up a bit.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. I'm no expert when it comes to Formula One. I know he's been doing it a long time, but from what I know, Formula One is meant to test, regulations, combinations, make it strict so they can develop things for market.
Right.
Develop things for street cars. So, I mean, obviously the street cars now have strict technical regulations as far as, anything from fuel mileage to safety, etc. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I agree with both. I think maybe if they loosened it up a little bit, it would give a little bit of leeway and a little more room for maybe the under-sponsored teams to come in and, have a little bit more room there to work with. But in any case, Formula One is not doing great at the moment, but I hope they get their act together because I love Formula One. But, okay, a little bit of funny news before we go. McDonald's in Australia is using Lamborghinis and Ferraris to deliver. First off, I didn't know McDonald's delivered. Secondly, I didn't know people that worked at McDonald's drove Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Just saying.
After that $15 an hour fight going on, I'm going to guess they're probably rentals. And, McDonald's delivering, who knows? I didn't know Jimmy John's delivered till now last weekend, so hey.
All right. Upcoming this week, like Krista said, NHRA is in Las Vegas, Formula One, Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas. It's going to be a great race if you can make it go. It's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. NASCAR, Sprint Cup, Nationwide, and Truck Series are all at Texas Motor Speedway. And next week, SEMA, the 4th through the 7th in Las Vegas, Formula One in Brazil, NASA here locally, the HPD Summit Point event. If you're looking to get out on the track in your street car, looking to get some track time, it's really a good opportunity to get out there. Also, NASCAR, Sprint Cup, Nationwide, and Camping World Truck Series in Phoenix. That's all we have for this week's racing news. We'll be right back after the break.
Ladies, become empowered with firearms training at Veritas Training Academy in Sarasota, Florida. Veritas will teach you what the bad guys don't want you to know. No prior firearms experience needed. Classes fill up quickly, so don't delay. 941-447-7089. That's 941-447-7089 for class dates and times. Veritas also offers firearm safety and concealed carry courses as well as private lessons to hone your firearm skills and provide you with all the information you need to stay compliant with the law. Veritas Training Academy, 941-447-7089. Or check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/trainveritas.
Automotive enthusiast, have you modified your ride and want to see how much horsepower it'll put down? Look for bragging rights amongst your buddies whether you're running big boost or a big block. RP Performance has your answer. Featuring a state-of-the-art two-wheel drive Dyno Dynamics chassis dyno, RP Performance can measure your current power or help tune your car for maximum power. And for you power junkies, want to drive a fully prepared race car flat out around one of the East Coast's finest road courses? RP Performance also offers race car rentals for all your track day events. Host your next corporate team building event with the need for speed. Gift certificates are available for dyno services and track car rental. RP Performance is located at Summit Point Raceway, just minutes from Winchester. Visit them online at rpperformanceracing.com or call 304-728-6749 for more information. RP Performance, your Mazda Street performance and racing specialist.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
This is Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com. Now, back to the fastest ladies on two wheels.
All right, and we are back with Heels on Wheels on the Performance Motorsports Network, and, we have the fastest lady on, four wheels and a dragster on with us tonight. Racing pioneer and legendary female drag racer Shirley Muldowney is here with us. So can you start off by telling us a little bit of your background? I know there's a lot to it, so just tell us a little bit and maybe how you got started in drag racing.
Well, it's kind of widely known. I was a street racer back in the 1950s and just kind of started with the sport in its infancy, and I grew with it as a result of my first husband, Jack Muldowney, was very instrumental in helping me get started, and we raced together as a hobby, and then went to the big leagues in the early 1970s, and he stayed with me for a couple years, and we decided that we were both going to make a change in our life. So I continued drag racing, although Jack and I remained friends until he died here in 2008. So as far as my career, it's just, it was one step at a time. And again, I set my sights high, and I was able to achieve some very memorable times in the sport, should I say.
Now, Shirley, you were the first woman to receive a license from NHRA to drive Top Fuel. So my question is, why did you choose the Top Fuel dragster class? Well,
Top Fuel is the quickest and fastest a car in the sport. I had watched Don Garlitz a couple times in my very young years, and that was motivation enough to again set my sights very high. I thought it was a remarkable car, and I felt that if I could ever get the chance to run that particular class, I felt that I would do well. But that was then, and as the sport has grown, it's become the cars have really become much safer, much faster, much quicker, and much more expensive. So it's like anything else, the politics enter into it, and the as the sport grew and more people became interested, the price of the toys went up, if you will. So it was just something that was hard to keep up with over the years, but I was fortunate. I made some right decisions together with some wrong decisions. I wasn't right all the time, but I I got a few breaks here and there, and that's what it takes. A little bit of luck too.
As you said, safety and technology in these dragsters has increased significantly over the years. And when you first started, there really wasn't much safety. Can you tell us about the risk that you had to take every time you got into your car with the motor being in front of you instead of how it is today behind?
Well, I drove the funny cars for 3 years, and the driver placement is, in fact, behind the power plant. It's just the cars have just graduated as far as technology and innovations, safety innovations, and NHRA always did I think, a remarkable job keeping the sport as safe as they could possibly make it. And we learn as we raced. We were the test vehicles back in the 70s and 80s. And today, the sport is very entertaining. I would consider it one of the safest forms of motorsports. And the drivers today, they pretty much have an easy sledding compared to what we had to put up with in the 70s. And it's just that everything evolves. And through mistakes and things that we tried, some worked, some didn't. But over the course of I was in Top Fuel 30 years. It really changed leaps and bounds. It became much more expensive, but much safer, but much quicker, and of course much faster. So as it is today, I would venture to guess that I'd say 90% of the drivers out there really don't have any idea how fast they're going. Even though they get a time ticket and the clock doesn't lie, you really get a good idea just how fast you're going when something goes wrong. That's when...
I want to take a step back because you mentioned the entertainment portion of NHRA's drag racing. And as we know today, they pre-film it and then air it later just because of the long breaks between runs and things like that. Is there any way that you could see possibly, making it better so that they could air it live like a lot of fans want to see?
Well, the difference is... These cars, unlike a NASCAR car or a outlaw car or any other form of motorsports, to gain and produce maximum horsepower, you must have it on what we call kill. You must have it absolutely maxed out. It being the fuel delivery, the air delivery, the RPM, from stem to stern, you have to really turn all the levers and max it out to achieve what we achieve on the racetrack, to run the quickest and fastest, to be able to say this is the quickest and fastest race car in the world. In order to do that, you got to max it out. And when you do that, you have to be able to come back and, make sure try to do it without hurting anything, which is really hard to do when you max it out, if you will. When you come back for another round, it takes 10 guys to service that car. That used to take us a couple hours between rounds. Now you're limited to 75 minutes. Most of the time it's 55 minutes. That's from the time you leave the starting line to the time you get down to the racetrack and your team retrieves you and they tow you back to your pit and you get everybody out of the way and you get in there and you tear it down and you pull the pistons out and you check everything from the top of the motor to the bottom of the motor. Everything must be done. All of that happens in 55 minutes. There's no way you can go up there and just make a run, put fuel in it, come back around, and make another run. That's impossible. You have to service that car so it's, one, that it's ready to do it again. Secondly, that it's safe. You can't, we max them out. You just can't put run after run after run. It's not that kind of an application. So there has to be downtime between rounds, and that kind of takes away from trying to do it on live TV. That is the one drawback. And I'll tell you, not to down our TV coverage, because I think it's some of the best. Their camera angles are much better now. They've got it down pat. They can really almost take you for a ride in the car, as opposed to the Diamond P days. They'd have the cameras really elevated and at angles that made us look like we were crawling at 250 miles an hour. That's why I detest looking at the old footage. It's just, I hate it. I tell them, I don't want to see footage from the 70s. If you're going to show my car, show something that I ran in 2003, because then you get the feeling for the speed and what the run is actually like. So I hope that, that explains it. It's kind of a lengthy answer, but to turn it around, you need that 55 minutes, and most of the time you could use 75 minutes. But NHRA really has levied that time limit on us, and it's a hard thing to do. It really is. We used to do it with 4 guys. Now, 4 guys wouldn't make the cut. You need 10 full-time employees on the car every run. That's qualifying and eliminations. It's a rough tow out there. Trust me.
It really is, and I do see drivers getting involved. I see them packing the chutes, and
Yeah, well, we all pack our own chutes, pretty much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How important was it for you to get directly involved in that downtime to interact with your crew with what the car is doing?
Well, I've always spent a lot of time with the fans because they demand it, and they sometimes forget why we're there. We're there to, get the race car down the racetrack, but we're also there to put on a show, to win the race first and foremost. But the race is a show. It's show business, and the fans pay to see. They should get what they pay for. So I always spent more time with the fans than I did doing any manual labor on the car. Even though I had a pretty good idea what was going on, I would have to, because I paid the bills. I had to know the difference between, a flat top piston opposed to a dome piston, opposed to this gear ratio, opposed to a 671 blower versus a 1071 blower. As the years went on and the horsepower went up, the parts became more dependable. And the cost became astronomical. So I used to, it's something I could do. I packed my own chutes. Not that I didn't trust my crew members. If I trust them enough to let them work on the car and I'd get in and drive it, my goodness, if they couldn't pack a parachute, then they were at the wrong job. So it's just that I had the time to do it. But to get in and start, honing cylinder walls and stuff like that, no, I never did that. I never claimed that I did. My job was the hardest job, and that was making sure there was enough there to pay for it all.
That's so true.
That was a tough job, finding funding, and for some reason I suffered from a lack of funding, but the whole sport has suffered from that from day one. There are teams out there right now. They have a lot of advertisement on the side of their cars, and a lot of programs that aren't what they should be, but it's pretty much a game right now of second-generation drivers. Daddy provides it all, so they jump in the driver's seat and get all the glory. They don't have to look at the bottom line on Monday morning. They don't have to get the adding machine out and start adding up, what it costs for what you blew up on the day before on Sunday. In order to win the race. Most of the time, you can't win enough to pay for what it costs you to run a car like
Yeah,
that.
I'm firsthand experience of that at a grassroots level, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, you know exactly where I'm going with that. So it's a rough world out there, but it's now turned into a rich kids game.
Well,
And they can call me a bitter old granny. I think I just read that on the Facebook. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous to even go there.
I love your enthusiasm about everything, but we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back with Shirley Muldowney on Heels on Wheels.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, or truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi, this is Sugarland here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Music is one of the most important things in our lives, but nothing is more important than life itself. Music lives, and so should you. Please plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate.
Friends don't let friends
Drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, you got a problem with women drivers? Well, these ladies will run circles around you and most of your friends. Now, back to Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com.
And we're back with Heels on Wheels with Miss Shirley Muldowney on the line with us. So I want to take a minute here and talk about your movie. I think Krista and I have both had a chance to watch it, and I fell in love with it within the first 5 or 10 minutes. But, you know, like every movie, they probably added some things or did some things you didn't quite like. Is there anything that you can think of that wasn't exactly the whole truth?
Oh, it was based on a true story, but Hollywood took the liberty of taking the racing story and turning it into a love story.
Yeah.
I was totally against that, but once I signed and gave them the rights, they could have put me in a monkey suit, and I couldn't have. I wouldn't have won that battle in court. But thank God I was surrounded with friends. I was dealing with some good people that wanted it to be everything that it turned out to be. There were some things in there that I absolutely would just freaked over. But I must admit, and it sounds pretty weak and possibly untrue, but I'm telling you the truth. I didn't read the script as closely as I should have. There's script 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there's what they call a red line script. They change as they go along, and they edit, and they insert things, and production moves things around. But I was chasing a world championship in 1982, and that's what I was paying attention to. And that's a fault of mine, and it was back then. The world would end if you didn't make a drag race. And I see that in young drivers today, and I want to go, let me tell you, you don't know what you're doing to yourself. But they wouldn't listen to me because what do I know, right? There were some things in there, for me to describe the movie to you, what I think, one, I think that Bo Bridges played a masterful Connie Coletta, even though that Connie Coletta really didn't exist. I thought Bonnie Bedelia played a terrible Shirley Muldowney because that Shirley Muldowney didn't exist. If she had, she wouldn't have won a championship. She wouldn't have been able to hold up under the strain or put up with everything that the real Shirley had to put up with. Bonnie came across to me as soft and spongy and a little bit mushy in the movie. But that is the way she wanted to play the part. Connie,
Shirley, I totally could have seen Jamie Lee Curtis playing you because she's a very strong personality. Do you still feel that way, or is there somebody else more recently that you think would do it better?
That is who I wanted to play the part. I wanted her, but she could not. They interviewed, or what do they call that? I don't know what they call it in Hollywood, but several, a couple hundred women tried to get that part, believe it or not. At least that's what I was told. And Jamie Lee couldn't pull off the 16 years old and the 40 years old in the movie. See, you get to go from 16 to 40 years old, and she couldn't pull it off. And that's how Bonnie was able to do it. And that's how she got the part. Plus, she knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. But I was disappointed. But when I saw how she was so... she hugged every guy in the movie, and it was all hearts and flowers, and then I'm going, she couldn't win a drag race if her life depended on it. But, that was just my opinion. But people loved that movie, and people liked Bonnie. She was able to look like me. I give her that amount of credit, but she wasn't, throwing her arms around Connie and going, oh, Connie, I was so scared. Come on, give me a break. So those are the things that I protested. Jack Muldowney did not destroy my race car. He threatened to do that with a few beers under his belt, but he did not do that. But when I saw that, I felt bad for Jack. I really did. Jack and I, we divorced in 1971. We were married 17 years, and he died in 2007. And we remained friends all those years. Couldn't have been a better guy in my life than my son's dad, Jack. And we always got along. I thought a lot of him. I probably made a mistake back then, but I was young, and when you're young, you do make mistakes, and you can't go back. You have to go on and try to be a better person for all, whatever faults you feel. If you're wise enough to be able to see them and recognize it, you do what you can to make up for it. And I did. I stayed his true friend all those years.
Shirley, you have won Top Fuel Championship titles. You've won 18 NHRA national events. You've had the opportunity to dictate your true memoirs. You've worked so hard in your life. What do you see yourself doing now in racing?
Well, I looked after 2003, I was very unceremoniously, and that's probably not fair because ESPN dedicated the whole show of the Winter Nationals the World Finals at Pomona in 2003. Just threw it in our laps, and we gave them a good show. And if I had ever won that race, that would have just changed the sport, I think, forever. But I didn't. But I did, in fact, run my quickest and fastest runs of my entire career in my retirement year. And all of my crew members were old friends and old crew members that I'd had over the years. They were all volunteers. And it was a great year. But I was thrown to the curb, and it was basically the cost of it is what drove me out. And, I'm a little sore about that. But there are a lot of racers out there even today, and I'm not going to name them, but they're struggling. my best friend, Doug Herbert, is not out there because he doesn't have a deal. And if anybody deserves a deal, he does. But there are a lot of racers hanging on. Look at Erica Enders. She didn't go to the three West Coast, Northwest, if you will, races during that time of the year, in September to, I guess, the middle week of October, end of September. And she didn't go to those races because she really didn't have the funding to go. That may, in fact, cost her the World Championship. Even though
she's such a good driver. She's in almost every race she's won. She's
a phenomenal driver.
Results. She's amazing, and we talk about that a lot. That she doesn't get the PR that a lot of the other female drivers.
Well, she earns her. A lot of them rely on and fall back on and depend on their publicists. When I raced, I didn't even know what a publicist was. But they run in and out of the press room and they sit down and they type all these fabrications that they come up with, stories about this and stories about that. I want to only hear stories about who crossed the finish line first. That is most important to me. Or who did a great job sitting in the driver's seat. That is not who took their clothes off or who, how much money daddy has, or, all of these stories that they intertwine with these stars, if you will, of today. That to me is not important. I think Erica is phenomenal, and she's got the class and the stamina and the ability to go on and do wonderful things in the sport. And she's putting up with a few boneheads, if you will, out there in the class. I can name them. I can pick them out without even, but I'm not going to do that. But they stand out like a sore thumb, these guys. So I hope and pray she does win it, and I will be extremely pleased. I will go on and probably I can't find a Top Fuel ride, and if I could, I would go out and run just 5, maybe 6 of the biggest races just to upset the championship. Just to throw a wrench in it, just to make some noise and have a little bit of fun for a change. Not so worried about having to pay the bills or the parts
I
bills.
would love to see that. Absolutely would love.
I think everyone.
It would be great.
I think everyone.
It probably
would love to
won't happen. I do know that we had several deals going. I know that some were sabotaged. True, absolutely true. Some we just didn't have what the sponsor wanted. Some may not have wanted a woman driver. Who knows? But it's very hard to come by what it takes to run a car today. It's just almost impossible. But I have been offered a land speed ride in Doug Herbert's land speed car. And it looks like that we will go possibly February 2015. And I am ready for that. If it's the last ride I take, that would be a great way to go out with the fastest mile an hour ever turned on land for a piston-driven car. They have the rocket cars, and then they have the jet cars, and they have the cars that they're airplanes, except they don't have wings. This is a piston-driven, 2 engines, 2 Viper engines. And it's very capable of 450 mile an hour, 550. But I don't want to try and run faster than Doug when he drives the car for the man's land speed record. So I keep it down to a roar.
But
that's
Shirley.
the plan. That is what I have to look forward to. I hope it happens. But I live quietly now. I've moved to North Carolina. And I have 2 Chihuahuas that are, they are the love of my life.
I've come to realize that racing people are also dog people, it seems like. So
yes.
they fit in very well.
They have their pets. I was the first one to ever have not ever, but the first one to have a pet at the racetrack that became well known and got her picture on the front of the sports page of newspapers, and everyone knew Skippy, who she belonged to. She'd go pick garbage underneath the trailers. I never had a leash on her in 18 years, and racers would bring her back to me. I caught her under my trailer with a hot dog. She was a very cool little Chihuahua type dog.
That's a great story.
yeah. I that's my second love. Animal rights, animal protection. I'm a big defender of anyone that misuses an animal. They have to get by me, and
I wouldn't want to be them.
No, you wouldn't want to be them. But we just Saturday night we went to a black tie down in downtown Charlotte. It was the Humane Society of Charlotte fundraiser, and it was beautiful. It was a great event. I loved it.
Well, Shirley, unfortunately, we are out of time, but we are definitely going to have you back on the show because we have not even scratched the surface of all the things that you've done.
No, you haven't. Yeah, well, I've been very fortunate. Yes, very lucky to have survived all the years when it was grassroots and it was hairy and deadly and dangerous and all of those years. So
well, we're glad you did.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too. I learned a lot and I survived it. So that what more can I ask? We'll talk again sometime soon, I hope.
We certainly will. Okay, this has been Taylor Hyatt with Krista Elise talking with Shirley Muldowney. We'll be right back with Heels on Wheels.
Shopping around for your racing gear, driving from store to store only to find they don't have what you want? Barter's Racing Collectibles on Black Gap Road in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania has it all. The hottest NASCAR, IRL, and NHRA diecast, t-shirts, jackets, flags, and more. Everything racing. Stop by or check out their website, www.partnersracing.com, or call 717-352-2782. You'll be surprised at the selection, prices, and friendly client service. UPS, FedEx, and USPS shipping available. Farners Racing Collectibles, www.farnersracing.com, or call 717-352-2787. Farners Racing Collectibles, where racing comes alive.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. If you're looking for selection, ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery, look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
You want fast women? Well, we got them right here.
Hey, baby.
Well, all right. No, not that kind of fast. Yeah, that kind. Now back to Heels on Wheels on the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com.
Right, Krista and I are two very fast ladies, and you can take that however you would like to take it. But we are back with Heels on Wheels, and Sizzlin' Scotty's coming up next. He has a great new recipe for us, so stick around and listen. Here's Scotty.
Thanks, Taylor, so much. Yes, this is Sizzlin' Scotty, and we're back for another fantastic recipe for the tailgate. You know, a lot of times we've always said that nothing like having some handheld food for the tailgate. We've done everything from chicken legs. We're gonna revisit a great recipe today, and this is Sizzlin' Scotty's barbecue ribs. And let's go over the ingredients list here. We're gonna take 4 pounds of baby back pork ribs, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, a half a cup of dark brown sugar, a half a cup of cider vinegar, a half a cup of ketchup, a quarter cup of chili sauce, a quarter cup of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of chopped onion, a half teaspoon of dried mustard, and 1 clove of crushed garlic. Now, we're also going to have 3 tablespoons of your favorite rub, and we'll get to that, where we're going to use that right now. What we're going to do, and this is a really easy recipe, this is a recipe that you can do at home and then finish up on the blacktop. We're going to preheat our oven to 300 degrees, and we're going to place the ribs on a shallow roasting pan. We're going to scatter the 4 cloves of sliced garlic over the ribs. We're going to brush them with some of our rub. We're going to cover, and we're going to bake those for about 2.5 hours. And now in a small bowl, we're going to whip together all these great ingredients for our barbecue sauce. And this sauce is going to coat our ribs when we get them on the grill. In a small bowl, we're going to mix together all those dry ingredients, the white sugar, the paprika, the salt and pepper, the chili powder, and the ground cumin. And we're going to put those in a medium saucepan. We're going to mix those together with the brown sugar, the cider vinegar, the ketchup, the chili sauce, the Worcestershire sauce, the lemon juice, the onion, the dry mustard, and the clove of garlic. And we're going to simmer that over a medium-low heat. And we're going to have that uncovered for about 1 hour. After that, we're going to take a small amount of that, and we're going to set it aside for basting, and then we're going to use the remainder of it to coat them up once we're done. So when we get to the ribs are ready to go, and they've been in that oven now for 2.5 hours. We're going to keep those, and you can wrap them in aluminum foil, and once they cool, and set those in the fridge, and then have them ready for you on the blacktop. Now, the nice thing about this recipe is that these ribs are going to they're ready to go. They're cooked right now. And we're just going to finish them up on the grill, coat them up, and get them all nice and slathery with our sauce. We're going to place the ribs on the grill, and this is going to be in an area of medium-high heat. We're going to do this indirect. And we're going to have those all wrapped up in the aluminum foil for about 12 minutes. Once that 12-minute time period, we're going to take the ribs out of the aluminum foil, and we're going to baste them with our reserve sauce, and we're going to get those nice and brown and glazed for probably another 3 to 5 minutes. And these ribs are going to be ready to go. So once you're done with that 3 to 5 minute time, and you like what they look like, they're going to be nice and glazed, pull them off, set them on a cutting board, slather them up with the remaining sauce, and cut them up into 2 rib portions or 1 rib portions, and set those out for your tailgaters. And you've got a fantastic rib recipe that is so easy and so delicious that you'll have people at your tailgate coming up and wanting more. Now, a nice thing to go with this is a side dish of baked beans, maybe some coleslaw, a lot of the fantastic sides that we've already done that you can find on our Facebook page, which is Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzle and Scotty. There's a lot of great recipes for sides, and on the tailgate this time of year, a nice cold beverage would be really good, or always try a nice cup of warmed up apple cider with a little bit of cinnamon and maybe a little bit of rum. You always can find our recipes on our Facebook page, Tailgate Grillin' with Sizzle and Scotty. Give us a like and a comment, and tell us what you'd like to hear on a future segment. I'm Sizzle and Scotty, and now back to you, Taylor.
All right, and we are back. Thanks so much, Scotty, for that great recipe. I can't wait to try it. During that little break that Krista and I just had, I got a Snapchat from Krista, and I love that UPS put your outdoor rug over their box, so you couldn't see it. I laughed.
Kudos to the fail hide and seekers of the century.
Yeah, like why? Why even try?
Oh my God, that map's a little bit lumpy. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it's definitely not a box of stuff.
That was awesome. Anyway, okay, back to the show. So this week's I couldn't help but talk about it. I just saw it and it cracked me up. Anyway, this week's roundtable, we are talking about SEMA. It's gonna be huge, like always. I looked up the floor plan today, and you guys better bring your walking shoes. It's huge. So all the formal stuff. SEMA will be November 4th through the 7th. It's the halls are open 9 to 5 in Las Vegas, obviously. And if you are going or are talking about SEMA on social media, use the hashtag SEMA 2014. It is the premier automotive specialty trade event of the year. So, if you guys are going, congrats for that, because I wish I could. So, Krista, what kind of info do you have about this year's SEMA?
Well, the primary place that you really want to go to get info will be SEMAshow.com. The big reveals this year are going to be the 2015 Mustang. We got a couple emails through our media center already. There's going to be some pretty good performance part reveals, which you usually see a lot of those at PRI because that is more performance-based than SEMA. But you're going to have that. And, some of the recommendations I can make besides wearing walking shoes is bring business cards. It is key because it is a trade show. The media link on SEMAshow.com actually has a schedule of celebrity appearances, so if that's who you're going to see. I'm going to see racers and to do a lot of interviews. It does have exhibitors on there. I don't know. Be prepared to talk and network. There's actually a list of events that are going on, networking breakfast, seminars, etc. And, they're meant to kind of teach people the ways of the world as the aftermarket.
Yeah, I saw that there are a lot of marketing seminars, so that'll be good for some of the younger racers going out to kind of get a grip on how to market yourselves. I do want to go back and list some of those celebrities because I'm a huge celebrity fan. It doesn't matter. That's just how I am. Anyway, Corey Weller, who is a pro off-road racer. She's a fan of the show. She's been on the show a couple of times. She's going to be there. Richard Rawlings, Joe Coddington, who's a huge fan of the show. Kennedy Jones, who was the 2013 NMRA Rookie of the Year. Alexis DeJoria. Richard Petty is going to be there, and I think he was at PRI last year, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be at SEMA this year. Vaughn Gittin, Kurt Busch, and Danica Patrick. I know that's who you're going to see, Krista. That's the entire reason you're going.
I will stand in line for hours.
Leah Pritchett.
Actually, we already, we have plans to catch up with Kennedy and Joe, so
nice.
Let's get some video.
Jesse Combs, of course, is going to be there. The whole Force family, Brittany, Courtney, and John, and Rachel DeBarros, who, if you remember, we had on the show. She's an awesome female mechanic, doing a lot of cool things, so she's going to be there. I also saw that they're doing like a 125-person contest of who's the best builder, and that's going to be actually Friday. They're announcing the winner to that after the whole show is over, and they're doing some new event Friday after the show in downtown Las Vegas this year.
Sure. So SEMA Ignite is actually what you're talking about. And, because SEMA is a closed trade show, unless you're part of the industry, and you can prove that you're part of the industry, they're actually doing something to get the public involved. So there's actually a link you can register for SEMA Ignite and come out and kind of hang out and see. It's the after party of the week of the show. So you can see kind of the high-level overview of what's going on. And you don't have to worry about it if you weren't able to attend.
So I think in closing here, SEMA's going to be awesome, and you should definitely be there. So, and hook up with Krista if you're there, so she can take lots of selfies. And be careful of her selfies. Be careful. She takes like 6 selfies at one time, and you get stupid faces. So just beware. Don't let her take the selfie.
But yes, we are, if you're listening, and shout out your booth number to Heels on Wheels on our Facebook page, and we'll be sure to stop by and bug you and never leave and fall asleep under your booth.
Of course. All right, I have 15 seconds to do the close. Let's see how fast I can do this. That's a wrap for this week's edition of the Heels on Wheels radio program. We'll be back next week with even more amazing guests. Thanks to our wonderful guest this week, drag racer Shirley Muldowney. For more tailgating recipes, like Chef Sizzle and Scotty's Facebook page, facebook.com/tailgategrillin with Sizzle and Scotty. You can follow us on Twitter at PMN Heels Wheels and like us on Facebook, Heels on Wheels radio program. Your hosts have been Krista Elise and myself, Taylor Hyatt. And, of course, the guy behind the boards, the one and only Cougar Michaels. Thanks for listening. Now let's go racing.
Heels on Wheels is a copyrighted production of www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page, Heels on Wheels Radio Show, or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated. Be listening next week as the fastest women on the planet rev it up and talk racing.